15 unknown German sleeper cars of the 1990s. In the 1990s, Germany built some of the fastest cars no one saw coming. No wings, no noise, just pure stealth. One of these could outrun a Porsche, yet your uncle drove it to the office every day. Let's get into it. 15. 1992 Volkswagen Passat VR6 B4. From Autobahn bruiser to business casual sleeper, this one wore a tie, not a tracksuit. Now you might expect something loud or low-slung for the first car, but this, it looked like it belonged in a high school parking lot or outside a dentist's office. Boxy, beige, and politely forgettable. Yet lurking under that sensible skin was something Volkswagen had never offered before: the legendary VR6 engine. Launched in 1992, this family sedan came armed with a narrow-angle 2.8-liter V6 that pushed out 172 horsepower and 173 pound-feet of torque. That may not sound groundbreaking today, but in the early 90s, it was enough to launch this upright wagon from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 7 seconds, quicker than some sports coupes of the era. All this in a body that looked like it had no intention of breaking the speed limit. The real surprise was the way it felt. Smooth power delivery, a low growl when pressed, and handling sharp enough to keep up with more expensive rivals. It was also the first time VW blurred the line between economy and performance so brazenly, and yet almost no one noticed. The downside? It still drove like a front-heavy commuter if pushed too hard, and it rusted faster than it ran if you weren't careful. But if you passed one on the Autobahn back then, chances are you didn't even know what just happened. That's sleeper DNA. 14. 1993 Opel Omega 3.0 I-24 volt. The kind of car your uncle bought used, but with enough muscle to make a BMW driver glance twice in the rear view. If the Passat VR6 was discreet, this one was practically invisible. No spoilers, no drama, just wide tail lights and a nameplate most enthusiasts wrote off as dull. But under the hood of this quiet 1993 saloon sat a power plant GM didn't want you to get too curious about. The Omega 3.0 I-24 volt wasn't built to turn heads, at least not until it flew past you. Tucked beneath its long hood was a naturally aspirated 3.0-liter inline-six, churning out 204 horsepower and 199 pound-feet of torque. It delivered a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of around 7.6 seconds, but more importantly, it had that Autobahn-ready high-speed composure, stable, smooth, and always game for triple digits. What made it special wasn't just the power, it was the silence, the way it accelerated without fuss, the way it refused to tell the world what it was capable of. Even the exhaust note was muted, like it had something to hide. Yet it had flaws that kept it from stardom. The rear-wheel drive layout made for fun handling, but build quality and electronics didn't age gracefully. It never quite escaped its fleet car image, and that might be exactly why it's still underrated. Because when a car this calm outruns something with an M badge, you start paying attention. 13. 1995 Audi A6 2.5 TDI Quattro C4 manual, a diesel built for accountants, with grip like a rally car and torque that could yank a tree stump. On the outside, this one looked every bit the part of a conservative German executive car. No flashy trim, no aggressive stance, just a tidy, well-mannered shell. You'd expect it to idle quietly outside a tax office or glide unnoticed through gray weather commutes. But under the hood, a different story entirely. This 1995 sedan came equipped with a 2.5-liter inline 5-turbo diesel, producing a modest 140 horsepower, but a seriously punchy 210 pound-feet of torque. And thanks to its 5-speed manual transmission and full-time Quattro all-wheel drive, it put that torque down with startling urgency. The 0 to 60 miles per hour time? Around 8.5 seconds. But don't let that number fool you. Rolling acceleration told a different story. This wasn't about sprinting, it was about momentum, grip, diesel pull from way down low. It surged through traffic with confidence and clawed through rain and snow like it was born for bad weather. And it was born tough. This was the final outing for Audi's C4 platform, built like a bank vault and beloved for its over-engineered durability. But being a diesel, it wasn't flashy. It didn't rev high, it didn't sound exciting, and the cabin was more functional than fun. Still, it was quietly faster than anything it ever parked next to. And when it pulled away from a turbo Saab uphill in the snow, no one could explain it. That's how sleepers work. 12. 1995 Audi 100 S4 Avant C4, a family wagon that looked ready for groceries, but had the soul of a rally legend quietly simmering underneath. If the last Audi whispered performance, this one kept it locked in a vault. Long roof, soft lines, conservative paint. You'd spot one outside a library or idling in the carpool lane, never suspecting it was tuned to chase down sports cars. But the 1995 Audi S4 Avant hid a weapon beneath that estate car body. A 2.2-liter turbocharged inline-5, pushing 230 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Mated to a 5-speed manual and Quattro all-wheel drive, it launched from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.2 seconds, quicker than many coupes twice its size. It was Audi's first real stab at the high-performance luxury wagon, before RS badges existed, before the world even took fast wagons seriously. And this one, it delivered. Linear boost, unflappable traction, and the kind of build quality that made you believe you were piloting something secret and special. Still, its subtlety was both a strength and a curse. There were no flared arches, no badge flecks, and because it wore the 100 name, it slipped under the radar even more. But when a boxy station wagon blasts past a 3 Series on a cold morning, without drama, without noise, you start to wonder what else the world's hiding. Want more machines that never got the credit they deserved? Subscribe, because we're just getting warmed up. 11. 1994. Mercedes-Benz E420 W124. It looked like a diplomat's daily driver, but had a V8 big enough to make muscle cars nervous. Following the Audi wagon, you might expect something flashier, but no, this next one stayed dressed in pinstripes, not racing stripes. The 1994 Mercedes-Benz E420 wasn't chasing thrills. It was composed, formal, and absurdly underrated. Tucked behind its iconic W124 grille was a 4.2-liter V8, good for 275 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. It wasn't tuned to scream off the line. It delivered its power silently, effortlessly, 0 to 60 in just under 6.5 seconds, with no exhaust bark or tire squeal, just a smooth, clinical surge forward like an executive changing lanes. Built like a tank, it rode with quiet confidence, soaking up highway miles without breaking a sweat. And thanks to Mercedes' over-engineered 4-speed automatic and rock-solid build, this thing still feels planted at speed nearly 3 decades later. But it didn't advertise itself. No AMG badges, no aggressive styling, just subtle fender flares and slightly wider tires if you look close. It didn't care about being the fastest. It cared about being the most capable without a fuss. The downside? It lacked a manual option, and the suspension leaned more comfort than sport. But that was the whole point: stealth performance. Would you pick this over an E34 540i if you had to choose just one 90s V8 sleeper? Drop a comment and let me know. 10. 1994 Mercedes-Benz C36 AMG W202. It wore a 3-pointed star, but had the instincts of a street brawler in a business suit. Coming off the stately E420, this next car dialed things up just a notch, but not where you'd expect. No wild spoilers, no massive air intakes, and absolutely no sign that it was the first AMG production model officially backed by Mercedes-Benz. The 1994 C36 AMG walked softly and carried a 3.6-liter hammer. Underneath the understated body of this W202 sat a hand-assembled inline-6, punching out 276 horsepower and 284 pound-feet of torque. Paired with a crisp 4-speed automatic, it launched from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just about 5.8 seconds, quicker than most V8 sedans of the time, and plenty fast to catch drivers off guard at stoplights. But it wasn't built to shout. The ride stayed civilized, the exhaust tone muted, the styling so modest that it blended in with entry-level C-classes on the lot. Only the discreet AMG badge and subtle wheel upgrade hinted at its true intentions. Inside, it kept the luxury dial turned up. Plush leather, wood trim, and the kind of German build quality that refused to rattle. And unlike its louder rivals, this one stayed planted, focused, and dangerously smooth. It never got the same spotlight as later AMGs, which makes it an even better sleeper. Because power that hides itself, that's the kind you never see coming. 9. 1993 Audi S2 Coupe. It looked like it belonged to someone's older brother who still burned mixed CDs, but it had the bloodline of a legend. After the composed Mercedes C36, this next one steps in with a bit more attitude, but not the kind that screams. The 1993 Audi S2 Coupe carried itself like a touring car, reject turn commuter, all soft curves and quiet confidence. Most people never realized it was descended from the fire-breathing Quattro. Beneath the hood sat a 2.2-liter turbocharged inline-5, sending 227 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque to all four wheels via a proper 5-speed manual and full-time Quattro system. That combo launched it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.7 seconds, making it one of the quickest coupes in Europe at the time. But here's the trick. It didn't look like it. No flared arches, no giant wings, just a sloping body that blended into traffic and taillights that never got a second glance. You could park it beside a base Audi 80 and no one would know the difference until you vanished at a green light. It handled like it had something to prove, tight, composed, and unshakable in the wet. But because it wasn't flashy or loud, it never earned the cult following it deserved. That's the thing with true sleepers. You don't notice them until they're gone, or in this case, until they have already taken the next corner at full boost. 8. 1992 Opel Lotus Omega, Lotus Carlton. Coming off the subtle Audi S2, this one's a whole different beast in plain clothes. The 1992 Opel Lotus Omega, also known as the Lotus Carlton in some circles, was a wolf in sheep's clothing like no other German sleeper. At first glance, it looked like just another executive sedan. Clean lines, understated grille, and absolutely no hint of what lurked beneath. But under that calm exterior roared a 3.6-liter twin-turbocharged inline-6, producing a staggering 377 horsepower and 419 pound-feet of torque. This beast tore through 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.9 seconds, a number that would embarrass many exotic sports cars of its day. The secret? Lotus's masterful suspension tuning and aggressive gearing made it not only brutally fast in a straight line, but razor-sharp through corners. And yet, it kept its composure. No over-the-top spoilers or wild body kits to give the game away. It was shockingly civilized for what it was, with plush interiors and a smooth ride. But that stealthy aggression came at a price. Reliability could be tricky, and servicing this powerhouse wasn't for the faint-hearted. Still, it earned a reputation as one of the fastest sedans on the planet, without ever shouting about it. When a family car can outpace Ferraris in a straight line, you know you're looking at something legendary. 7. 1998 Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG W210, a sleek executive cruiser that looked like it was built for boardrooms, but could leave muscle cars eating dust. After the raw power of the Lotus Omega, this next sleeper took refinement and speed to another level. The 1998 Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG in the W210 chassis disguised a roaring beast under its polished, understated exterior. At first glance, it was just another well-dressed E-Class. Clean lines, classic Mercedes grille, and that calm, confident stance. But lurking beneath the hood was a 5.4-liter, naturally aspirated V8, delivering a hefty 349 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. Thanks to AMG's touch, it sprinted from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5 seconds flat, a serious number for a car that didn't look the part. This wasn't a showy muscle car with aggressive spoilers or loud exhaust notes. It was a refined powerhouse. The suspension balanced sharp handling with comfortable cruising, making it perfect for both the highway and back roads. While the E55 AMG oozed luxury inside with premium leather and wood trim, its true magic was in that effortless speed. It was the kind of car your neighbor would never suspect could outrun a Corvette. There were trade-offs, though. Fuel consumption was generous, and servicing an AMG isn't cheap. But when you want a car that blends in at the office yet dominates the street, this was the ultimate compromise. A polished predator in a three-pointed star suit. 6. 1990 BMW 535i E34 manual. A mid-size sedan that looked like your dad's comfortable daily driver, but packed a manual punch that could surprise even the keenest enthusiasts. Following the refined yet powerful E55 AMG, the 1990 BMW 535i E34 sticks to tradition, understated, sharp, and with a driving experience that rewards those who know where to look. This wasn't the flashy M5, no wild body kits or thunderous exhaust, but under its classic silhouette lived a surprisingly eager performer. Powered by a 3.5-liter inline-6, it delivered a modest yet potent 208 horsepower and 225 pound-feet of torque. What really set this sleeper apart was the option for a 5-speed manual transmission, something rare for its class and time, giving drivers precise control and a more engaging ride. Thanks to this combo, it sprinted from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 7 seconds. Not blazing, but enough to put many sportier-looking sedans in their place. The E34's balanced chassis and near-perfect weight distribution made it nimble in corners, a trait that belied its conservative styling. Its boxy but elegant design was timeless, blending seamlessly into any suburban street or parking lot, hiding the sharp driver's tool beneath. Sure, it lacked the outright power of some of its rivals, and manual versions were less common, but that made it even more of a hidden gem for those who knew how to exploit its strengths. Sometimes the quietest sedans are the ones you don't want to challenge on a back road. 5. 1994 Audi S6 Sedan C4. After the driver-focused BMW 535i, we're stepping into the world of Audi's understated powerhouse, the 1994 S6 Sedan C4. On the outside, it looked like a typical executive car. Clean lines, no aggressive spoilers, no neon badges screaming for attention. But under the hood, a hidden performance machine. This sleeper packed a 2.2-liter turbocharged inline-5, churning out 230 horsepower and a hefty 258 pound-feet of torque, all routed through a full-time 4 all-wheel drive system and a slick 5-speed manual transmission. That combination pushed the S6 from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just under 6 seconds, which was seriously quick for a sedan of its size and era. What set it apart wasn't just the straight-line speed, but the way it handled. The Quattro system gave it incredible grip and confidence, especially in poor weather, making it a rare mix of practical daily driver and legit sports sedan. Inside, it kept the luxury high with leather and wood, but didn't shout about its performance. The S6 quietly dominated roads and parking lots alike, turning heads only when it vanished in the rearview mirror. If you're enjoying these hidden gems, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the list. There's plenty more sleepers coming your way. 4. 1993 BMW 740i E32. A luxury limousine that could easily outrun sports sedans if you gave it the chance. Following the Audi S6's quiet storm, this next car takes sleeper status to a whole new level. The 1993 BMW 740i E32 looked like a dignified executive's transport, big, polished, and imposing. But beneath its stately exterior was a surprisingly capable performer. Powered by a 4.0-liter V8 delivering 282 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, it sprinted from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 6.5 seconds. Impressive for a car weighing nearly 2 tons. The E32 chassis combines smooth luxury with precise handling, giving drivers a rare mix of comfort and confidence behind the wheel. It wasn't flashy, no spoilers, no aggressive lines, just pure presence. Yet that understated demeanor masked a muscular heart capable of surprising acceleration when pushed. Of course, with great power came some drawbacks. Fuel economy was modest, and its size made it less nimble in tight spots. But on open roads, this BMW was a beast in disguise. What do you think? Is a big luxury sedan with serious pace the ultimate sleeper? Drop a comment and let me know. 3. 1997 Mercedes-Benz S500 W140. Following the imposing BMW 740i, the 1997 Mercedes-Benz S500 W140 stepped up as the ultimate blend of opulence and surprise speed. At first glance, this was the classic Big Benz. Stately, elegant, and unapologetically formal. No aggressive lines or flashy badges to hint at its hidden potential. Underneath that refined exterior was a 5.0-liter V8 pumping out a solid 322 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque, enough to push this nearly 5,000-pound cruiser from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.6 seconds. For a sedan this size and era, those numbers were borderline sports car territory. What made the S500 a true sleeper wasn't just the grunt, but how effortlessly it delivered it. The ride was smooth and plush, masking the power until you floored the accelerator. And then it was suddenly very clear this was no ordinary luxury car. Of course, fuel economy took a hit, and servicing such a complex machine was costly. Still, this was a car that demanded respect. not by shouting, but by quietly outperforming nearly everything in its lane. A giant that could glide like a limousine and roar like a beast without anyone suspecting a thing. 2. 1995 BMW 540i M Sport E34. Following the refined power of the S500, the 1995 BMW 540 M Sport E34 represents the perfect balance between subtlety and performance. A seemingly modest executive sedan that could easily leave sportier cars eating its dust. With its clean, no-nonsense design and conservative styling, it was the kind of car that blended seamlessly into traffic, never drawing attention, yet hiding a fierce heart. Beneath the hood sat a robust 4.0-liter inline-six engine, delivering 282 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Paired with a sharp 5-speed manual transmission and BMW's famously balanced chassis, it could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 5.7 seconds, blisteringly fast for a car that looked like a practical daily driver. What really made the 540i M Sport a true sleeper was its driving dynamics, taut suspension, precise steering, and a weight distribution that made it incredibly agile for a sedan of its size. It wasn't just fast in a straight line, it was a blast on twisty roads too. Its understated M Sport styling meant it lacked aggressive spoilers or flashy badges, making its performance capabilities a well-kept secret. Fuel economy was decent for its class, and while maintenance wasn't cheap, it rewarded drivers with a genuine driver's experience. The 540i M Sport quietly proves that sometimes the best performance is hidden in plain sight. But trust me, the #1 sleeper on this list takes subtlety to a whole new level. You won't believe what it's capable of. 1. 1994 Audi RS2 Avant. This isn't just a sleeper, it's a legend disguised as a family wagon. Capping off our list is the 1994 Audi RS2 Avant, the ultimate stealth weapon of the 90s. At first glance, it looks like a practical station wagon, something your local soccer mom might have driven to practice. But under that modest exterior lurks a turbocharged beast that redefined what a sleeper could be. Powered by a 2.2-liter turbocharged inline-5, it cranked out a whopping 315 horsepower and 302 pound-feet of torque, numbers that matched or even beat many sports cars of the era. Thanks to Audi's legendary Quattro all-wheel drive system and a sharp 5-speed manual gearbox, the RS2 blasted from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just about 4.8 seconds. For a wagon tipping the scales at over 3,400 pounds, that was absolutely blistering. The RS2 wasn't just fast in a straight line, it handled like a razor with suspension and brakes engineered by Porsche, giving it sports car agility wrapped in a surprisingly subtle package. Its understated flared arches and practical hatchback shape hid the fact that this was a rally-bred powerhouse. Of course, rarity and price kept it out of most people's radar, but those who experienced it never forgot the jaw-dropping shock when this family car left supercars in the dust. If you thought all sleepers looked boring, the RS2 Avant just rewrote the rulebook. Which one of these quiet beasts would you throw the keys to for a surprise night out? No show, just pure hidden power? Drop your favorite sleeper in the comments below, smash that subscribe button, and buckle up, because next time, we're uncovering sleepers so wild, they almost rewrote the rules of speed.